All right, welcome to week two. This is the week two forum. This week we're talking about chapter two, which deals with the founding and the establishment of our constitutional system. You're going to learn about the reasons why the colonists decided to rebel against the British and sort of fast forward through how we got to independence. Then we're going to talk a little bit about sort of the instability of the system of governance that existed between what were at the time 13 separate sovereign colonies and why that system really wasn't going to work. What we had initially was called the Articles of Confederation, which was again a federation of separate and sovereign states that really couldn't work because the interests that drove those 13 states were too diverse. And so, one of the things that I think is really one of these formative, crucial moments in American history is Shays' Rebellion, which began in Massachusetts. It was largely a rebellion of really, aggrieved Western Massachusetts farmers, as that kind of resulted from government policies. It was eventually suppressed, but it highlighted, it was very widely publicized at the time, and it really demonstrated the fact that the existing system of government simply wasn't workable. And that led to calls for, the Constitutional Convention. And then, of course, the convention itself met, and over the course of the summer, devised the Constitution as we know it, as it was drafted. And it involved a number of compromises. I like to tell people, I'm a political theorist by training. Our Constitution was enormously capacious at the time of ratification, which is to say, it was fully capable of encompassing fairly democratically oriented. There were no fully democratic states at the time among the 13 original states. But there were some that were more responsive and had the beginnings of a flourishing politics. And then there were the southern states, which were straight up authoritarian. So you have a really capacious constitution that can embrace both, a span of different kinds of governing ideas. Um, and it really highlights the fact that the framers were prepared to compromise on and defer a lot of conflicts that they knew would have destroyed any hope for forging a unified, country. And I think that carries important lessons for us today. First of all, again, on the value of compromise, the fact that sometimes small steps need to be taken and we need to defer action sometimes. Politics is about knowing when to fight fights, and that's an important thing to keep in mind. But Shays' Rebellion also kind of highlights the fragility of any governing system. And as you read this chapter, ask yourself, is the American experiment, which again is really two experiments, one with republicanism and the other with authoritarianism, is our system of governance resilient enough to survive what we're going through right now? I hate to ask that question to freshmen and to people taking a 1,000 level class, but I think it's a question we have to confront today, and we have to decide what kind of a system of government do we want? Do we want an efficient authoritarianism where our voices don't matter, or do we really want to engage in the governing, prospect, in the governing of this country? So I'll leave it at that. But I hope again, we have a really good discussion in the forum. As always, if there's something that you're struggling with, if there's something that you don't understand that you're encountering in the reading, the forum is the perfect place to bring your questions.